there are 2.5 countries that are embracing these technologies. America, which has GDP growth. In fact, part of the problem we have politically is it works almost too well. It's just not widely distributed. China seems to be working, and Israel seems to be working. Where have people not embraced these technologies? And so that's like, but again, if you just start with the core problem Germany has, it's an export culture. Its products have to be better than everyone else's, or no one's going to buy them. And you can basically ask Germans, do you think your products are going to be responsible for your economic health, Wohlstand, or is it going to be your diplomatic service that's going to deliver that? You're going to rely on German popularity, and so the opportunity is. I tend to think like the opportunity is that if you want to succeed and thrive, there's only one set of technologies that can do this. How are you going to rebuild your car industry so it's as good as China's? Just start there. Like again, and people are doing that. We have partners. How are you going to rebuild these industries so you can compete and win? There is no other way.
Alex, I think we are living in one of the most exciting times of civilization. There is so much change. There is so much progress. There is progress on so many levels in highest and accelerated speed. It is the case for space. It is the case for health. It is the case for computing and robotics. It is the case also for defense. Unfortunately, we need that. So my question is, although we are at the eve of an incredible accelerated productivity gain and potentially a better form of living in civilization, I really see that opportunity. Nevertheless, it is one of the most skeptical times. There is a lot of fear. There is a lot of anger. How do you explain that? Is it simply the speed of change?
Well,
it's too much.
Now let me just focus on America. I think,
and by the way, that is not a European origin.
No, it's a Western problem, and it is an arguably bigger problem here. This is where I do think America might have, I think, okay, Europe has an obvious tech problem with political consequences that are really bad. America has more of a political problem where far left, far right of just like it's more hurt the people are successful than any solution, and they're very serious about that. And the idea they couldn't win is not true, unfortunately. The central framing I'm skeptical of here with people. So people I agree with, probably you, and definitely people in my tech world. It's always like this is going to be a bastion of plethora of good things that everyone's going to profit from, and there are no dangers. I'm not saying you say this, but it is a commonly held view, and the tech people want everyone to just stand up and say that. And I think that is not credible. What I think is actually just like the overselling of AI in this country is really, really, really somewhat disconcerting, but it's also depressing because you don't have to do it. This is a natural resource that is net excruciatingly valuable for the betterment of humanity. But it does have some negative externalities. First of all, we don't know where it's going to go. These things are not deployable without processing engines, application layers, ontology, etc. And the biggest problem in this country is while it will raise the standard of living of the average person, the people involved are likely to get 10, 100 times wealthier than they already are. That's a problem for society. The way I try to explain to my Silicon Valley colleagues is,
do you think that the wealth, if we go back to history, then innovation and new technologies have always led to growth, to prosperity, and to an improvement of the standard of living of all people, particularly of the lower income classes. That has started centuries ago. It was true when the wheel was invented. It was true when the steam engine was invented. It was true when computers were invented. It has, in the end, if we draw a line, contributed to the well-being of people, and it has improved the shape of society. Nevertheless, at the beginning, there's always the concern the steam engine is going to destroy
But let me just,
jobs. And we are always afraid. My point is, do you think that AI is now different?
Let me give you a different first. Let me give you the answer that I think sums up a lot of the problems in Europe and America. This is a new playbook. There is no playbook. Why am I doing so well? Because this is a neurodivergent age, and what the people had skills. So this is a different revolution. And even if that is true, and let's assume it is, that everybody will do well, I think that's not. I think most people will do better.
You think the society is going to divide into a very few with incredible wealth and the mass that has nothing?
No, I'm not saying that. Again, I think that's kind of that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying most people who are middle and middle class will do better. People who are willing to change their jobs are likely to do better, but not everyone. But that's not the real political problem. We have a political problem in this country, not a tech problem. In past revolutions, the person at the bottom, maybe their salary doubled, and the person at the top became 5 times wealthier. But it was very unusual to be a billionaire 40 years ago, right? You now have a revolution where, I could become 20 times wealthier than I am now. And the person who is working out here could become, they could have their salary certainly could go up significantly by any normal standard over a period of 10 years, go up 50% or double. Okay. When you have a complete decoupling of unimaginable wealth and that unimaginable wealth, and then this is where we're not really allowed to say this, but it's done by people that you don't really relate to. These are very oddly shaped IQ specimens that, you probably wouldn't want to have over for dinner. And if they were over for dinner, you have nothing to talk to them about. And by the way, vice versa. And, and then our whole fabric is not I got screamed at for first of all, it wasn't a draft. I was we should have some kind of service. By the way, by that, I meant hospital, taking care of old people. Our fabric of our society is already strained. Wealthy people, it's not like in the 50s and 60s where people actually knew each other, went to the same schools. We're already totally separate societies, right? It basically is. I mean, it's inflammatory, but we already live in a separate but non-equal society. And then you hypercharge it with extreme economic wealth, egregiously extreme, while everybody else is kind of growing. And even if it's not true, people are afraid, even if it is true that most people raise, the actual fear people have is, I'm going to lose my job. Now, that fear, even if it's not true, the people running the lab companies, who are the leaders, told you it's true. They're telling you your life is going to suck. And they're also getting very wealthy, and you don't find them very likable.
And people who used to be on the winning side of history are now suddenly very much afraid that they would lose their job. I traveled to the Silicon Valley 3 times over the last few weeks, and the level of nervousness is really surprising. A lot of people think we have only 6 months until our jobs are going to be gone, and that is the tech community, that is developers. And they work day and night in order to reinvent themselves because they are afraid that in a few months
and again,
have no income.
And then the political version that scares me a lot, and I do think so, and I'm yelling at everyone in Silicon Valley in private and on public, I've been a Democrat. Despite what you may be reading about me, most of my life, I'm still a 70s progressive, which is actually a real progressive, meaning I want to help the poor. I just don't want to burn the rich. The Silicon Valley line basically is, don't believe your lying eyes. Okay, this doesn't work politically. By the way, it's the same problem Germany and Europe have about all these issues. And if you tell people don't believe your lying eyes, you know what they do? They protest vote. That's what happens. And they protest vote because what they're really saying is, you are telling me not to believe everything I know to be. By the way, also, just overarching in Europe and in America, the political class is low legitimacy. So what your version of reality is, they're always lying to me. I don't know why they're lying. That's hard to figure out. But people believe they're always lying to me. And again, to just overly tie this in to annoyingly, why, I'll give you a different version. Why is Palantir the most popular brand in the world? People always frame it as the most unpopular. We have, for every time you read someone, we have 100 times the fan. I'll tell you why we're the most popular brand in the world. And that's why they attack us often. We're the most popular brand in the world because I might be crazy. I am saying things you don't want to hear, like the West is superior. We need national service, which means helping out old people. It doesn't mean industry should be fully aligned with the country. We have to fight for these things. We have real adversaries. If we're not competent, we'll lose. These things, technologies are not perfect, and you have to listen to annoying people. And by the way, you can't blame everything on a country you hate, whatever. Okay. And you know why we're so popular? Because everybody else is telling you they're only trying to figure out what you want to hear so they can. That's the felt version. And that's why when politicians in this country or anywhere else say, hey, don't believe your lying eyes on migration. Don't believe your lying eyes on nuclear. Don't believe your lying eyes on AI. They get up and they vote for people who are like, screw these people. I'm going to burn down the house.
What